Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. I'm joined as ever on Sunday by my buddy, Jerry V. Hall. Jerry, how's everything in Costa Rica?
Oh, just recovering from Valentine's Day, and my education in the market continues.
Shoo, it continues for everybody, especially everybody who thought this was going to be a super cycle. Sorry. All right. So anyhow, before everybody starts hating, before we start talking about the bottom, I will just say this. I don't know where the bottom is. I don't know if Jerry does, if he has a magic crystal ball. I don't think anybody really does, but we're going to see potentially where it could be. But before we get into that, I want to start off with some good energy. I want to thread the needle a little bit, and just to show people, like, just a different way to think of things. This is Anthony Pompliano, or Pomp, and he had a great response when he was on. I think it was on Yahoo Finance. And they were asking you about, like, hey, how can you invest in something that dropped 50% in like 3.5 months? And I just want to go over this as the response, because it was really good. It was really good. And it makes you think, like, yeah, that's not too bad. So instead of us bringing you nothing but negativity, let's listen to a little positivity from Anthony Pompliano. Take a listen to this.
This is stupid. Don't pay attention to it. It's going to go away. It's going to go to zero. The government's going to shut it down. And guess what? Now they all have a Bitcoin strategy. They're launching Bitcoin products. Bitcoin is the single most successful product launch in Wall Street history with the ETFs. And I think that ultimately Bitcoiners, they won. They have infiltrated Wall Street.
Well, have they won if that's one of the reasons that the price has gone down?
Wait. Before we do that, me and Jerry were talking about this. I just thought about this. We were talking about this beforehand. And we all wanted the institutions to come in. We all wanted the big money. Well, it's here. And now we're kind of paying a price. Jerry, before we go on to that positivity, what do you think about what was said right there? Like, did we really win? Because the institutions are here and it doesn't seem like they're really making headway. And what's going on behind the scenes?
Well, I think it may not feel like we're winning, especially when you have prices of Bitcoin in the last X amount of days that are similar to our last previous all-time high when we hit that $69,000 in 2021. But we're only in the second or third inning of the game. And so it's hard to say if we've won or lost. I think we're winning, but obviously we got to get to inning 9 before the scorecard can get fully officiated and ratified and memorialized. Well, that's definitely, I didn't think of that, but yeah, it makes sense. It's just, because maybe we're just, I know people will start groaning, we're early, but what Jerry just said is right. And then what Pom says here is right. Just take a listen to the rest of this. This is actually pretty good, because he's pretty much saying, like, look, we are winning. Check this out.
Who cares that the price is down in the short term? Bitcoin went from a penny to over $126,000 in 15 years.
I mean, come on, though, but you have all these leveraged products now that are on top of Bitcoin, right? And so the people who are leveraged, when it went down, a lot of them lost their shirts, because you have this increasing financialization and institutionalization. There's nothing bad about that.
Just compare it to last April when the stock market went down 20%. More people lost money then than they did in Bitcoin, right? Stock market's much bigger in terms of a market cap percentage. And so people are going to win and lose money all the time in markets. That's the beauty of markets. But if you simply dollar cost average into Bitcoin and you hold it, you're going to do just fine. And so if the gamblers on Wall Street want to come and gamble on a 40-ball asset, let them do it, because what that does is it provides opportunities like this. Because those people want to use leverage products and gamble, it allowed for people now who are just coming into Bitcoin to start accumulating at $68,000 rather than $126,000. So it's a gift from Wall Street that they push the price down and allow people to acquire more at these lower prices, because it's not going to change where Bitcoin's going. If it doesn't go to zero, it's going to $1 million at some point.
And I always, it's something that we always know in the back of our heads about, like, okay, well, over time, and he's right. I mean, Jerry, we've been here about the same amount of time. I remember, again, in 2017, it was the hottest item of all time. 2018 just collapsed, and it's going to go to zero because it's internet nerd money, and no one's going to use it. No one's going to believe in it. Then all of a sudden, we hit a low of, what was it, $3,500, $3,600 in 2020 because of COVID. And then, we come into it, and we have this amazing, huge run in 2021. Then 2022, everything collapses. FTX, Voyager, Celsius, BlockFi, those things just collapse. Luna explodes. 3 Arrows Capital screws up everything. And then of course it's like, well, that's over because like no one's going to trust it. Here we go again. So we're in 2025, everything's going pretty hot. And then we have, take your pick. It could be October 10th in Binance. It could be macroeconomics. It could be quantitative tightening into quantitative easing, whichever it is, or not enough liquidity, or the business cycle, whatever you want to believe. But it's always the same thing happening over and over again. And I got to hand it to Pomp, just say like, yeah, these are the gifts. Unfortunately, when you're in this market, you don't feel like it's a gift. You feel like it's a trap because you're like, damn it. And I can tell that a lot of you who are here watching this video, which I got to tell you is much less than in the bull market. These are the ones that are going to be successful because they're the ones that get it. And Jerry, tell me your insights in this one.
Well, I mean, obviously my heart goes out to folks that found Bitcoin last year. We're buying at 90, 95, 97, 1005, 1018, 125, and they're holding their bag now underwater, right? My heart goes out to you. I know what that feels like. I got here. It was the bull run at the end of 2017 that drew me into this space, right? Watching that massive explosion. And all my money went into the space in 2018 as it was on a sharp decline, right?
Oh yeah.
However, when you juxtaposition that versus where we are now, I've done pretty well. You've done pretty well, and all of us who have dollar cost averaged and hodled will do well over time. And so there are growing pains in this new industry. We have to accept that. And at the end of the day, there is no better time than now to get involved, right? When we're sitting at these near, we'll call it cycle lows, right? This is the time to I don't want to say back up the truck. This is the time to deploy the most amount of intelligent capital, right? What you can afford, or at least this is my strategy, what I can afford, I'm deploying.
Right. Yeah. And it's the same thing like we have with the rules, right? You can't see it because my big head is blocking it. But essentially the very first rule is don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And if you can do that, you're doing pretty good. Next one, everything's a scam. Tell people otherwise. Don't leave things in exchanges. Don't use leverage, even though everybody wants to do it because they're the best trader of all time. That's fine. And then, of course, the last rule, which is what I learned in 2022 after everything collapsed, was take profits along the way. And if it wasn't for that, I would not be very happy. And like Jerry said, if you're here and you got into like 95, 96, 100 and some K, that's pretty much what everybody's story is. Nobody gets into the bear market. Very rare. I got in when Bitcoin was 8,500 in 2017, and it went to 12,000. I bought that. Then it went to 17.5 up. I bought that. 19,000. I bought that. And guess what happened? Lost it all because it just kept going down. Almost every single person I've ever talked to has gotten in a bull market. But where's all the money made, Jerry?
It's made here. It's made right now.
And
when it looks bleak, when it's like, when your friends and family are saying, are you nuts?
Like, yes, I am crazy,
yes,
crazy like a fox. So it's the same thing. And then like, just to put things in perspective, it's bad. I mean, if we're talking about like going down, but if you've taken profits on the way, you're actually kind of rooting for some of this. Now, most of you aren't, or some of you aren't, but I think a lot of people are. They're like, yeah, keep going down because I'm going to keep buying because everything just starts recycling and going over again. So Bitcoin's down 45%. I'm pretty sure we hit around 50%, maybe 51 not too long ago as it dropped down from 126 to, gosh, what was it? 59K? I think it kissed 59 or 60K. Ethereum's down 58%, XRP 60, BNB only 53, not bad, and so on and so forth. So when we talk about bottoms, we actually talked about this yesterday. Crypto Quant says Bitcoin's ultimate bear is 55,000. I have to tell you, that's a reasonable price. Firm said that Bitcoin's realized price, which historically has been a major price support in previous bear markets, represent the likely ultimate bear market bottom. Bitcoin is still trading over 25% above that. So prices need to go down 24% still. And it showed us this nice little graph and model. All right. So here's the ultimate price, 55.1. But I just said like this, I'm like, you can make it simple, just use moving averages. And 100, or excuse me, let me reset this. Or actually, before I reset it, just know this. This green one is the 200-week moving average. That's what everybody's waiting for. And they think that once they hit that, that's the price to go down. But here's 250, 300, and 350, and 400. And I think we could hit those because we almost hit it over here. Look at this. 21st November 2022, everybody was looking at the 200-week moving average, which was 24K. It dropped all the way down to 15K. So whatever your expectations are, they can actually go lower. And I could say like right now, we're not even at the 200-week moving average. So I know people will say that we bottomed. I don't think we bottomed yet. I just don't see it. But we'll take a look at some other pieces. But Jerry, where do you think of, and what are you doing? Because me personally, I'm still buying, and I'm deploying capital, dynamic DCAing. But once it gets those 200, 250, and 300, I'm putting more in. But that's just me. How about you? And what do you see?
The short answer is I am buying. I am buying my spare capital. Everything that I don't need to sustain my quality of life is going in. I'm diverting 50 cents to Tesla stock and 50 cents to Bitcoin. And I have my reasons for that. I think the most important reason in the Bitcoin buy is that, number one, I've recently come to understand cost of production in Bitcoin, right? Electricity plus, overhead, and then output later, a level of difficulty. And then to take a look at, so if on average it costs 77,000 to create a Bitcoin, and miners are the source of the highest amount of Bitcoin into the open marketplace, then miners who've had Bitcoin, who've been storing it and holding it, who are having to release it, weaker miners are getting shook out, stronger miners are staying strong, and we have an increased passive flow into Bitcoin that we've never had in the 15 years of its existence. And that is, you've got companies like Strategy constantly buying, and you've got this massive ETF market that just continues to grow. And those are passive flow vehicles, right? They take people's 401k contributions on a monthly basis or pay period basis. That could be bi-weekly, weekly, whatever it is. But they're constantly passive flows. We've never had those. So anytime you look at a 200-week moving average, you have to understand that dynamics that are in place today were not here 200 weeks ago. They weren't here 100 weeks ago. They were barely here 50 weeks ago.
And here we are.
And so I guess anybody can take a stab at what the low is. I think if we're not at the bottom, we're darn near the bottom because of those factors that are now in place. And it's mainly built off of the passive flow. There's a demand. There's a constant demand for that Bitcoin that is not you and me on a DCA. It's a 401k. It's a company like Strategy. It's a country like El Salvador. You fill in the blank.
You fill in the blank. And you know what? I like what you said there. We probably aren't at the bottom, but we're pretty darn close. Check this out. Let's just put this into our heads before we get into the supply and profit loss, which is what is hogging up the thumbnail for today. So the cycle differences here. And it is freaky how things kind of repeat themselves. From the top to the bottom on the first cycle, 2013 down to 2015, it took 410 days, but that's not what I care about. I want everybody to remember this date, 13th of January, 2015. And then I want you to remember this date, 16th of December, 2018. That's when it went 84%. So 85% drop, 84% drop between the top and the bottom, and then a 77% drop on 9th of November, 2022. So going backwards again, 13th of January, 2015. What the heck is this? it looks like sound waves. This is the Bitcoin percentage of supply in profit and loss. So in yellow is where you're at profit. And usually once you're up at the very tippy top, that's when everybody's in profit. You got the percentage of supply and profit, 99.87%. Essentially, this is the top for that cycle. Percent of supply in loss, there's nobody. There's just, the people like us or Michael Saylor, who's pretty much buying the tops. Now, I know he didn't buy in 2013. It was just a joke. But we can see here, where do the bottoms kind of converge? Well, let's set date again. 13th of January, 2015. Let's find that. Here's, 16th of January, 11th of January. I want you to remember this. The percent of supply in loss and the percent of supply in profit. It's like a 50-50 split or 57-42. 57 is in loss. You got more people in loss than you have in profit. And that's when it goes down. And it converges and it goes up. And usually, supply and loss is above 50, supply and profit below 50. Make sense? Great. Let's go to the next one. So I'm looking for a date of 16th of December, 2018. Right over here. 16th of December, 2018. Okay, 18th December, 2018, roughly. What do you notice? The percent of supply and loss above 50, 53.72%. Percent of supply and profit under 46, under 50. So again, loss is above 50, profit is below. What's next? It is 9th November 2022. Over here. 9th November 2022. Supply and loss above 50%. Supply and profit below 50%. You got 54 and 45 split. Where are we at today? Right here. Let me blow this up because I can't see it because my eyes suck. Let's see. So the highest we went was roughly right here. And you see the supply and loss was only 47. Supply and profit 52. It was inverted. Sorry. And because of that, you could say, well, I'm going to make a case that we haven't bottomed because this is one of those indicators that hasn't bottomed yet. Also, when Crypto Quant talks about the realized price. So that could be it. However, just because there's a couple of indicators that say it doesn't mean it's godsend and it's written in stone. Remember this thing we used to talk about? Bitcoin will never drop below this election day price. And guess what it did? And of course, the big one that I remember is you will never get an all-time high before a halving. And we did this time. However, when I take a look at what's going on in the world, the macro and everything else, I just think that we have a little bit more to go like Jerry talked about. Jerry, what are your thoughts?
Again, for me, I have to keep it simple. What do I have to invest? What am I going to invest in? And what is my plan for that investment, right? And for me, I've got to keep it simple. I put in some good limit orders, right? I have a little bit of money sitting tied up in limit orders, and I have a little bit of money. What?
Sorry, Jerry, didn't you put one like at 62 or 63, something crazy like that?
Yeah, and 61 and 60, and
sorry,
I got one
at
59. I got one at 59. And the extra money that I have, I just do my normal dollar cost average, right? So what I've been doing is taking that dynamic DCA element, right, that I learned, and those are going into limit orders in the event that this continues to, over time, cascade down, right? Yep,
right. Cascade down. That makes simple. And you know what? I like to talk about these things, just because it's a fun mental exercise. But at the end of the day, Jerry, you're right. Let's just keep things simple. So like your dollar cost average, we use these things like here. Just steal something from Ben for a second. Hey, if you like this website that I'm stealing all the information from, you could sign up. Most of it's, there's a good amount that's free. Some of it's paid for. But you get 10% off the first month if you like that. But what I'm looking at is, like, I like to keep things simple too. I'm a simpleton, if you will. And, once it goes below these risk levels, below 0.5, below 114, I buy a little bit. And before, I was dollar cost averaging every day. Now I just do it every Monday just to keep things straight. And then at 0.4, you double up, or I double up, not you. Then below 0.3, I triple up. And at 0.2, I quadruple up. And at 0.1, which could happen. Now I have to, what is it, quintuple? I don't know. I have to 5x. And that's where I'm going. And because I took profits, which I didn't do a good a job as I should have, I'll be honest with you. I should have done better. I didn't. Because of that and the things that I put money into, now I have cash flow. And I can, as the flow comes in, I can put it into Bitcoin and round we go. So I like the simple talk that Jerry just talked about. So I can agree with that. Last thoughts, Jerry, before we do a little Q&A.
No, just I made a really concerted effort to minimize my alt holdings. Right?
Yeah.
I'd like to get down to maybe no more than 6 altcoins. From 50 and
50. Those are rookie numbers. Okay, go ahead.
I've rookie numbers, exactly. And I've taken a bath on those, right? And although I've lost money on my alt investments, the majority of them, the silver lining is that I'm going to have losses to offset gains that are coming from my smarter strategy. Yeah.
And that's how to do it. So anyhow, everybody, I just want to bring this to everybody's attention for where we could be. I, again, don't think that 60K was the bottom. I think we can go lower, but rejoice in what it is right here. And maybe, again, if you did buy at 60K, maybe I should take profits. I need to pay for that new kidney, or I need, to pay my bills or mortgage, stuff like that. Don't think that Bitcoin is a buy only type of thing. I don't believe in that. I believe that Bitcoin's supposed to be freedom. And how do you get freedom? You get out your freedom financially. And because of that, you have to get out of a massive amount of debt. That's about it. So look, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Now let's get into a little Q&A, and Jerry will answer any question that you throw at him. So all Jerry today. Let's see. Texas Joe. Yeah, a lot of, Jerry, any of your stocks taking a big tumble or doing well? A lot of stocks corrected 20-30%.
Yes. There is some. So I did a lot of investing into things like REITs, real estate investment trusts, things that I always love the idea of a dividend or yield on an investment.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that some of these REITs, the underlying price performance. So although the dividend remains consistent, 5% or 6.8% or 9.3%, the price of the actual stock has been collapsing. And that's when I made the decision. I am going to, just like getting out of my alts, I'm getting out of all of my non-Mag 7 stocks. So if it isn't Tesla or Nvidia or something that I see is going to have exponential growth over the next 20 years, I've got to get out of it. It's not capital.
Yeah, you know what? Someone makes Brian Bravo makes a point. AI keeps this train going, and I think he's probably onto something, because it seems like there is a push for everything AI to do well. I don't know how long this is going to keep going, though. Because I saw this. There's that diagram where you have like OpenAI from ChatGPT has taken in so much money from, say, Google. They take that money in, and then they put it over here into NVIDIA, and NVIDIA takes that money and puts it into something else, another AI. And it's like this big flow of money all around. And of course, in the balance sheet, it looks like they're all profitable, but they are not yet. So, I mean, not all of them. But yeah, AI can keep the train going for a while until it doesn't. But I still see a long way to go. Jerry just got his Mac Mini. Or Jerry, did you get a Mac Mini, or are you looking for a Mac Mini?
Okay, so Compute Portal, my company, will not get into that business. There's just too much risk. And we don't want to be liable to anybody's hardship as a result of that. But Jerry, the human being, definitely is looking for a Mac Mini. I'm searching eBay and Amazon refurbished for something that I can get, like a 24 gigabyte. I'd love a 256 gigabyte SSD. It's kind of I want 16 cores, even though you only really need 8. So I'm looking for something like that in the $500 or $600, $700 range. Those things are flying off the shelf. They're hard to find.
Yeah, I just I saw something from James over at Best Answers. He just bought like 8 of those things, so he's gonna go hardcore. He's
gonna stack them.
You're gonna stack them. Fat Sonic says, I once saw a data sheet that says Monday is the best day to buy over time, and day is correct. So let's see. Let me go to, and where you saw that was probably here. Let's see, DCA. And it's what I like about Ben's site is you can just search for things. I can't keep everything straight. So best day to DCA. So when you look at this, you're like, ooh, Wednesday looks good. I like that. Thursday, but that's the exact opposite. What you're looking at here is for the days that the price is obviously the lowest. See, this is a funny thing. We look at prices like, or charts like this, we're like, okay, well, this is the average extension. This is the day that usually the price is the lowest. These are the days when I want to buy. But if we're just talking about days, it's cool. But when we're talking about like cycles, it's not. And people get freaked out. They're like, wait. You're telling me it's going to take a full year to hit the bottom? And that's how it is? Yeah, probably. I mean, it's only happened, the last 3 cycles, but sure. Well, you take a look at this. Yeah, the average extension, the best day to DCA, Bitcoin itself would be on Monday. Now, what about for altcoins? Like all these. Well, I can't show you that. You should sign up for Ben's website. Anyhow, so yeah, you're absolutely correct, Fat Sonic. That's right. Let's see.
Army. I'm coming in right now. Army Piper. I'll if the auctioneer is waving his fingers, I'm putting my little flag up. 620, my friend. 620.
That's it. Hey, Fat Senegal says this. I'm curious about bot trading to accumulate spot on the way down, but I haven't tried it. What we should get is Wes from Smart Money Tracking. Yeah. He does that a lot. He's got his own bot that does reasonably well. Verhoofty says, I made a plan. Now, this is a smart thing. I made a plan 2 years ago to be all in anywhere below 70K. Now I'm sticking that plan. Hoofty, that's a good plan. First of all, did you get the number of 70K from like what you thought the all-time high would be, or was it something you looked at like during that time 2 years ago? I'm curious. If you could put that in the comments, that'd be interesting to go for. More Chanel says, if you think Bitcoin is bottom, kiss my bottom, perhaps. But who knows? It's everybody. It's a game at the end of the day, and who knows where we're gonna go. Let's see. This is definitely a question for Jerry. When is it time to buy Coinbase stock? I have no idea. I don't own any. Jerry, what do you think?
I'll tell you what. There was for a while. There were a couple of these companies that would do pre-IPO founder stock issuance. Mm-hmm. You could, if you were an accredited investor, you could create an account with the business, and you could buy stock that employees had that they needed money for. Right. Oh. And Ripple was part of that. There were a bunch of these companies that were pre-IPO that had issued stock that had surpassed its cliff time, right? And was eligible to sell in open resale markets. I tell you what, if you think digital banks are going to be the norm in the future, Coinbase is a great way to express that bet.
A great pickup. Let's see if it actually is the one that survives. It's like the .com era. Which website's going to make it? Which one's going to flounder? 99% will not make it, but you got that 1% that makes you a billionaire. And Fat Sonic says, I hate Coinbase.
Pricing, I couldn't tell you if Coinbase stock today was fair valued or not. I don't understand enough about the price discovery with digital banks yet to tell you. I think it's kind of wide open. A lot of people are looking into it. But if you think they are going to be one of the top 3 or 4 global digital banks in the future, you probably could buy it at any price and be safe. Yeah. If you bought it now, whatever the price is today.
And I'm sure it's low because nobody's rushing into Coinbase going, this is the best thing of all time. Hey, look at this one. And Future Millionaire is right. Not to be the contrarian, but just how a lot of indicators didn't fire off when we topped. What if they don't fire off when we actually bottom? And that, my friend, is why I keep buying and dollar cost and dynamic dollar cost averaging. Because look, Future Millionaire is correct. Let me show you. I'm looking for CoinGlass. Here it is. So there's a great website that we talk about a lot, coinglass.com, bull market peak signals. And out of all these are the top 30. Not one of these fired off. I mean, they were close. Bitcoin short-term holder supply. All right. You got me on that one. It's 95% hit. But a lot of these and long-term holder supply. But most of them, the ones that we would look at, high cycle top, well multiple, ETF net outflows, ETF to Bitcoin ratio, you name it, it didn't fire. And these are the things that I think about, like, okay, it's good that we have these and we could place a model onto it and kind of think about it. But what if they don't hit? And these didn't hit. So like I remember when I was taking profits, some profits along the way, again, didn't do my ultimate job. But people were like, why are you taking profits now? It doesn't make any sense because indicators haven't hit. I'm like, what if it screws up? Now here we are. And the same thing here for the bottom. I mean, it makes sense that we just talked about, but what if it is not? So here we go. But I wouldn't bet against it. Yeah. For R, buy Coinbase stock at the lows and sell at the highs to get your fees back and break even. Jerry, what exchange are you using right now?
My two primary exchanges are Coinbase and Kraken.
Yeah, Coinbase and Kraken. I don't use Coinbase at all anymore. Mine are Kraken and Cash App.
Oh.
Cash App's, well, because I can use it. Like people here in Puerto Rico, they can't use it that I know of unless you've got a phone number from the States. So don't anybody tell Cash App what I'm doing. But yeah, it's great because the spreads is like no spreads.
Yeah.
I think they buy them OTC because it's pretty competitive. That's for sure. And then the rates are very low. And then Kraken is just for my alts. Let's see.
Let me ask you something on your Cash App.
Yeah.
Let's say you've accumulated 1/10 of a Bitcoin with your purchases and you've reached the point where it's like, you know what? I no longer feel comfortable having somebody else custodian my Bitcoin. Can you move that Bitcoin from your Cash App to your hardware wallet?
Yeah, I can move it to anybody.
Okay.
I don't think it was always like that. I think there's the same thing in Robinhood too. You could buy it, but you couldn't move it. That type of thing. So people hated it. And I think they implemented that. Correct me in the comments section. But for Cash App is different. Yeah. That's why I like it. It's good. Let's see. And I think that's it. I think we're good. Jerry, congratulations. We answered everybody's questions today.
Yay.
So we're good. Everybody, that's it for today. So Jerry, thanks for stopping by again. We'll see you guys in another week or so. But that's it. Stay strong. I know it's not the easiest thing. But again, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Thanks so much. Like and subscribe. See you in the next one.